are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the College Loop's SEC season preview series right here on the College Loop. Yet again, I said that twice. I don't know why. I'm Dylan Larck, on Twitter. Talk to you today about the LSU Tigers. Last season at LSU went 10-3, also producing a Heisman winner and a should-be Blitnikoff winner as well, Malik Neighbors. Last year, straight up, LSU would have won a national championship last year if not for the fact their defense was absolutely abysmal last year. I can overstate how bad. I will preach, and so will the entire college football world and everyone who ever even saw LSU play. That defense was bad. It was terrible. If LSU had a top 30, top 50 defense in the country, they would have won the national championship without a doubt. They would have undefeated all the way through, and Brian Kelly would have got his first national championship as a head coach. But look at the team as a whole. You're going to your first year of the Garrett Nussmeier era. Of course, now going into his fourth year as an LSU Tiger. He has been sitting on the bench for so long, and now it is time for his time to shine on the field. Every time he's got on the field, he's had moments where he has looked the part. You're like, well, dang, why is he the backup quarterback? I remember watching him go against Georgia. Remember him playing against Wisconsin in the bowl game this past season. Garrett Nussmeier looks the part. And of course, with the offense, gonna have to change. You lost Brian Thomas and of course Malik Neighbors in the wide receiver room. You lost Jaden Daniels, your leading rusher, as well as your leading passer from last year. The offense is going to be definitely more based around the pass game. I know I've heard some talks that they are very confident in their run game, but I still think you're going to rely a lot of what Garrett Nussmeier's strengths are, which is not running the ball. This will be the most pocket passer level quarterback play we've probably seen from LSU since, if my mind doesn't serves me right, TJ Finley, but also going back and further to a quarterback who played well for LSU was Zach Mettenberger. Trying to think of just strictly pocket passer quarterbacks. But running back room, you've lost a couple of dudes. You lost Logan Diggs, Noah Kane, and John Emery. But you're bringing back Caleb Jackson and Josh Williams, your third and fifth leading rusher from the previous season. Both had 9 touchdowns. Both had 9 touchdowns last season. So you got a 1-2 punch at the backfield. Look at the wide receiver room. The main dude you're going to be looking at is Kyron Lacey. Going to be taking over that wide receiver 1 spot after the departures of Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. But you're going to notice that production is gone. Last year, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas both combined for 2,600 yards. And my math is wrong, 2,700 yards. And also combined for 31 touchdowns. This duo was outstanding, and there's a reason why they were up for awards. There's a reason why all 3 of these guys, including Jane Daniels, were all number 1 or round 1 draft picks. And you're gonna rely a lot on Kyron Lacey, and then you have some guys behind him, and Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton Jr., who are going to be following his tracks right after that. And you have a very solid tight end of Max Taylor, who's going to be a great reliability target for Garrett Nussmeier. And look at the offensive line. The offensive line is also very, very good. And no offensive line can be bad if it has Will Campbell on it, who is, without a doubt, the top tackle in this upcoming draft, as well as the top tackle in the college football world in general. He is an absolute stud. And I cannot think of a better offensive lineman to be guarding a quarterback's blind side than Will Campbell. But kind of moving over to the defense side of the ball, and this is the part of the team that, makes or break the season for LSU this year. Last year, this team finished near the bottom of every single SEC defensive statistic. You're bringing back some dudes and a guy in Harold Perkins, who you're expecting another big season out of him. Last year, of course, had 5.5 sacks, as well as 7.5 TFLs. Also had 5 PBUs and a interception as an edge rusher. Got to keep him healthy, and I think he'll have a very good season. I like Harold Perkins as a prospect, and just what he offers athletically. He's a dog. He's an absolute dog. And you're also bringing back your 2 leading tacklers in Major Burns and Greg Penn, who are going to be keeping up the backfield of the defense. Greg Penn's the linebacker, but Major Burns does play the star position. So you're going to see a lot of new names in the secondary for LSU. DBU has had to reach out to some portal guys to kind of fill up roles. This defensive staff had a full overhaul. You had coordinators leave and bring in new guys. You had players leave and you got to bring in new guys. This defense, I would be shocked if it was on par with last year. If the defense finishes on the same ranking as last year, I think there's a serious conversation to be had about the recruiting ability of Brian Kelly. The defense was so bad last year. It was so bad last year. It's just laughable about how bad it was. I think the defense is going to be improved. I think about a lot of games might come down to the defense. I'm looking at the schedule right now in front of me, and there are about 3 games that I think LSU could lose because of their defense not being much better than it was last year. But with that, I'm going to kind of move into my season predictions. I think LSU starts off hot right away. I mean, you have USC, you have Nichols, you have South Carolina, UCLA, and South Alabama. I think you start off 5-0 all throughout the gate. I'm not very high on USC. The second opponent is, of course, I think an FCS team, so give them that. South Carolina, I'm not very high on this year. It kind of depends. I don't know what they're going to look like. I think Lenore Sellers is a very talented quarterback, and I think is going to work out very well for them. But I just as a team, I don't really know what to expect from South Carolina this year. UCLA got absolutely drenched, or not drenched is the word I want to use for that, but gutted by the portal. And just with Chip Kelly leaving, I don't think it's going to go too well for UCLA in their first year in the Big Ten. And you're definitely not going to have a good game against the LSU Tigers, especially with the fact that, if I'm not mistaken, this game is going to be in Death Valley. So yeah, I'm not too sure about UCLA's chances in this game. And then after that, they'll welcome in the South Alabama Jaguars into Death Valley. I think LSU wins this game as well. I think South Alabama is kind of on a decline after their coach left last year. So I'll give LSU the 5-0 start going to their first bye week, where I think the bye week's going to come into a massive play here because Ole Miss is their next opponent, who is not coming off a bye week and also coming off 7 straight games. I like LSU's chances in this game. I think with it being in Death Valley, I'll give LSU the win there. Start off the season 7-0, and of course that's 7-0 for LSU. That is, this team is going to win national championship. I'm not there yet. Because after Arkansas, which I think is going to be a win, especially for some Arkansas season preview series, I think the next game at Texas A&M is going to be LSU's first loss of the season. Mike Elko preaches how great of a defense he's going to have, no matter where he's at. He's had a good defense. I think this is finally where you see the flaws in LSU. So this is going to be the first loss of the season, especially since it's going to be an away environment. Then they go into a bye week. They'll play against Alabama, where I think Alabama will also get the win over LSU. So back-to-back losses in a row, and then LSU kind of gets a nice little stretch of at Florida, which is going to be in the Swamp, which definitely could be a very tricky game to predict. Florida definitely could give LSU a run for their money with it being at home. And then you have Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's coming off of a bye. I don't think it really matters. Last game of the season is another game that I think LSU actually drops against Oklahoma. So I think LSU is going to finish 9-3 on the season. At the ceiling for LSU ceiling, no matter what it is, with the way they recruit, the level of talent LSU always has, their ceiling is always going to be 12-0 to me. The floor, I think USC, maybe Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, Florida, Oklahoma. Your floor is 6-6, which is still a bowl game, but you're missing so much talent that the floor has to be like right there at the baseline. I still think LSU is going to be a very solid team. I just don't think it's going to be the LSU team that we've been used to seeing over the past few years, where definitely an offense that can take down anybody in front of them. But a lot of these games will come down to, is the defense much better than it was last year? That is it for my prediction of the LSU Tigers. Again, I'm predicting 9-3. Let me know in the comment section below what you are predicting for the LSU in 2024. And let me know how you think Garrett Nussmeier is going to do in his first year as the starting quarterback for LSU. Let me know in the comment section below. But I'm Dylan Larck. I watching on Twitter. Also follow me on Instagram as well at Dylan Larck at DYLENLARCK. You can find me right in the College Loop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday on the live streams talking about Auburn football. Of course, I'm always going to try to incorporate other SEC teams as well because I love talking about college football. It's my favorite sport, and it's not particularly close outside of college basketball and softball and gymnastics and a few other college sports. It might be closer than I'm saying. But with that, thanks for watching this installment of the College Loops SEC season preview series. Up next, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and you can see that tomorrow.